All right, this is Mr. Coatney here, and the purpose of this screencast is to give you an idea of how to continue with your research paper utilizing the thesis statement development, those three-step processes, as well as what you already have. You should, at this point, have about a page and a half of your research paper already completed. To take a look, I was going to JT Learn, so I wanted to show you just how to walk through the steps and utilizing the things that we already completed in class to get to the point of continuing writing and getting to your rough draft, which is about 3 to 5 pages. I'll open up both things and I'll give you an example of how I would actually use it. This is what we went over in class earlier this week. The example I'm going to use is student loans should be forgiven by all colleges. Now, in the event that your working thesis doesn't have all of the steps, then you may need to go back and edit it. But I'll open up that one. And let me go back to another window. And then what I will do is open up another. So the main thing that you want to do when writing your rough draft, you want to continue off where you left, focusing on those 3 steps in the thesis that you plan on utilizing. So I have here, I'm going back to JT Learn for this one. And then I'm going to open up the senior packet because the senior packet has the outline already in it. Now, we didn't go over it in class in detail because I wanted to wait till this specific time so that way you can have a better understanding of how to utilize it. This is just a reminder, these are your due dates. So on Monday, we actually have the rough draft, Monday, February 8th, 3 to 5 pages. So make sure that you are aware of that, including the works cited page. What you need to do is eliminate your annotations for your annotated bibliography, meaning taking out the summary, the assessing, and the reflection, and then just have your sources, not all 10, but only the sources that you've used in those 3 to 5 pages. So again, when you have your rough draft is not your entire paper. It is only the first 3 to 5 pages, and you should have a works cited page included at the end. Now, you won't have a conclusion for your paper. It'll be somewhere in the middle, but it should still be formatted MLA style, and you'll have that works cited page only using the sources that you have thus far quoted or cited in your paper. So you can take a look at that, and here's a simple outline. So this is where we are now. You already completed step 1. So each step is about a page or 2, just to give you an idea or indication. So I have 6 bullet points or 6 areas, if you will, components, and then the bottom body paragraphs. You can always use this anywhere in your paper. So this is the format of how you would set up a body paragraph. Obviously, you would have a topic sentence, you would have a supporting statement or statements, then you can always include a quote or a particular source. Now, if you don't have anything in your annotated bibliography now, you can always add additional sources. I'm only requiring you to have 7 in your paper. We actually researched 10. And then you want to do an interpretation of the quote or source, further supporting statements, another sentence or 2, and then obviously the transition statement going to your next body paragraph. So this is the indication of how you would do it utilizing body paragraphs. But when you go back up to the top, this is what you should take a look at. Again, it's on JT Learn, as well as you already had a paper copy if you still had it from the beginning of the research process. The first thing you want to address is kind of the problem or the issue. Identifying the current problem and situation. I'll have the research question matrix for you next week, but again, this is something that you can do for your rough draft. These are questions that you can answer in multiple sentences, statements, etc., depending on how you want to answer it. So first you want to address the problem or the issue. After that, you want to offer a plausible solution to your particular issue. What is the expected outcome? What will be done? How will it be completed? What particular steps are needed in order for this to be successful? All those things are what you need to address in your research paper. And then if we get to the point of opposition with the rough draft, and again, They Say, I Say books and templates are an excellent resource for opposing viewpoints, social issues, and it also gives you good sentence starters and templates that you can use to defend and argue your point a little bit more eloquently. So this is kind of how the outline works. So this is what you would follow. Now, you don't necessarily need to follow this outline, but it is a good outline just to kind of get you started and set you up going down the right path. Now, let's take a look at that example that we looked at earlier. Student loans should be forgiven by all colleges. So this is kind of what I have set up for my thesis statement. So this is my second page. Now, specifically what I want to do is focus on the select tool, this latter portion here. So if I have a good working thesis, it should drive me to 2, 3, or even 4 particular areas in which I'll focus on pages 2, 3, and 4. So if I was using this as my example, student loans should be forgiven for all colleges, I've already written my first page and a half. So now the question is, Mr. Coatney, hey, what are we supposed to write about? What am I going to get for page 2, 3, and 4? And the answer, obviously, the Denver Broncos. Doing so will benefit the growth of the economy. So the first thing I want to write about, my first paragraph and subsequent paragraphs, will be about the growth of the economy. Growth of the economy. So this is the first thing that I would address in my paragraph, because this is the first thing in my thesis statement that I've argued that I will do, referring to the tax revenues. So the first thing that I would do is focus on the growth of the economy by the increasing tax revenues. So I have information, statistics. Again, I need to go back to my Noodle Tools account. I'll use quotes just to talk specifically about the growth of the economy and how it plays a role and a factor when it comes to the tax revenues. This should be about a paragraph or two. It could be longer, depending on the information and research that I have. Once I've satisfied that in about at least 2 paragraphs, my next bullet point would be, obviously, you guessed it, unfreezing credit markets. Again, I would need to develop a very good transition statement. Going back to our other, I've addressed one of the problems or issues. Now I need to go back to another transition statement, letting you know what it is that I'm focusing on. Why am I focusing on it? Because the unfreezing credit markets have stifled the college student. There are too many opportunities for college students, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When it comes down to freezing the credit markets, one of the benefits in society or the government needs to consider would be boom, 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 however you want to word it. But this would be the next 2, maybe 3 paragraphs that I would address in my research paper. And then finally, creating jobs. What benefit would it have if college students has a debt of $3.something million? That's kind of my opening general statement. Then I want to go into my transition statement, allowing college students to be forgiven, or allowing college students to have some type of a stipend or forgiveness for their student loans would not only increase tax revenues, credit markets. I want to kind of reiterate what I've already talked about in my research paper, but it also would provide jobs for college graduates. For example, quote from Noodle Tools, boom, boom, boom. Explain the quote. Another argumentative statement, maybe something from the They Say, I Say books. So that's kind of how you would utilize your working thesis. That's why it's important that you do have it set up in the format that I've given you. Color-coded 3-step process. The most important step is the 3rd step, because it allows you information that will guide your research. 1st step, 2nd step, 3rd step. What am I focusing on? What will I be writing about? So if you need help or assistance, see me. You can always ask someone else in your group. And there was a reason why I made the colors orange and blue. I'll let you figure that one out. All right, I think this is it for the screencast. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Everything is on JT Learn, and your rough draft is due Monday by midnight. 3 to 5 pages. Again, 3 to 5 pages by midnight, including the works cited, only the sources that you are using. So if you're only citing or quoting 2 sources, only use 2 sources in your works cited page. And if you need a little refresher on MLA, there is a video online. If you ask me in class, I'll say, I don't know. Have a nice day.